Welcome to another episode of Life and Whiskey. As always, I'm Jordan, and today we're going to look at Ed Phillips and Sons Company, Princeton, Minnesota. Their Douglas and Todd small batch bourbon. It's 93 proof, which is 46.5% ABV. Sorry, couldn't do the math in my head. Anyways, so they make the claim that they are Minnesota's first craft distillery. I'm not so sure I believe that, since probably if you go back pre-prohibition, there's probably craft distilleries, but maybe they are. Anyways, the name Douglas and Todd comes from the fact that the distillery sits on the border of both Douglas and Todd counties in Minnesota, and so because of that, partly aged on one side and partly aged on the other. So craft distillery in Minnesota, small batch bourbon whiskey. Now my buddy bought me this, who's from Minnesota, but I did look online and you are able to get this across the U.S. Like Total Wines carries it and whatnot. If you look at the price, it's somewhere between $27.99 and $30. It might be a little bit higher depending on where you're from, but somewhere in that ballpark, right? So it's not extremely expensive, which is nice. And yeah, we'll see what Douglas and Todd have to offer. I like this. They have a compass rose on the cap, which is kind of cool. Because being a geography dork, that's always kind of cool in my book. So right away, it has that craft. If you smell a lot of different craft spirits, it has a very similar note to it. It's like this musty, grainy, malty smell to it. And it's a note that I really only find in craft distilleries. Kind of like walking into a grain room, like a musty grain smell. It's not unpleasant, and then behind that, it has a very sweet overtone to it. You can pick up some oak in there. The ethanol comes through, and a little bit of a light fruit, like a light plum, or I don't know what kind of fruit. Some kind of light fruits though, and sweetness, like a honey to it. But that green malty smell in there is pretty strong. That's pretty dominant in the glass, anyways. Once again, it's a moderately viscous whiskey. I was expecting it to be heavy and creamy on the mouthfeel, which it starts out very, very creamy, but only for a couple seconds. It immediately dries out. So it goes very, very dry. Very, very ethanol in the bite. There's an ethanol bite that kind of picks up mid palate and carries through to the finish. You get a lot of corn. That grain mustiness starts out up front. It moves into a very distinguished corn dust flavor. You pick up a sweetness in the middle that is like probably a caramel, not really a vanilla. Moves into ethanol and barrel tannin, so you get a little bit of that oak tannin in there. And then it finishes with just a hint of black pepper, a dry finish, and a little bit of oak. So this tastes like something that I think if you sit with it, over time it's going to change and open up a little bit. I think you can pick out quite a bit of stuff out of it. That grain musty smell though really dominates it as far as nose, and it really dominates it on the forward end of the palate. I really like this one. I like some of those odder flavors that you can get out of stuff, as long as it doesn't stretch into super funk, right? Like a little bit of funkiness is awesome, but if you get way out there, you color way outside the line. The interesting thing about this is for a bourbon, you do not get most of the classic bourbon notes in here, so this is something a little bit different, which I rather enjoy. Good little bottle of whiskey. So thank you to my buddy Jim for bringing this to elk camp with us. I really appreciate that. And it's a good little whiskey. Like I said, somewhere in the 27 to probably $35 range, depending on where you're at. So please drop in the comments below what you can find this bottle for in your area and what your thoughts on it are. I'd greatly appreciate that. Yeah. Boy, that grain funk just, it dominates everything. I can't really get past it too much. Hopefully you guys are enjoying some of these stories and you're enjoying some of the whiskey. We'll catch you on the next video. Thanks for watching.